Good morning, Taiwan, and thank you for joining us today. I am Louisa Lee, here to keep you informed and entertained. 欢迎收看 Louisa 报报，每天给你最新奇、最有趣的新闻。And 6 months later, it's a similar scene in New York City. 73 people have been arrested at the latest protest in Zuccotti Park, which is where the Occupy movement first took place. Despite the crackdowns, the demonstrators are not giving up hopes to make some differences. And instead, some are predicting that their momentum and intensity may even pick up with the days warming up. 占领华尔街运动届满半年后，纽约的示威者想要回到公园扎营，却被警方驱离逮捕。
New York police descended on Occupy Wall Street protesters after a day of demonstrations marking the 6-month anniversary of the movement. Just before midnight, as about 300 protesters gathered at Zuccotti Park, the birthplace of the Occupy campaign. Some protesters said they'd hoped to reoccupy the park after an encampment there was broken up last November.
Some people wanted to reoccupy the park, so people were out here with their sleeping bags near a few tents. The officers basically came into the park and smashed the tarp down that people were lying under, and they began trying to arrest people.
The police then began to use the barricades, holding it chest high, pushing people back, beating them back out of the park, off of the sidewalks, and then pushed them back across the street onto this sidewalk, pushing people down in the process, hitting them in the face.
The operation to clear the park took about 20 minutes. By midnight, there were no protesters left around its boundaries. The movement has made headlines in the past for its clashes with police. The demonstrators, who originally set up camp in Zuccotti Park 6 months ago, sparked a wave of similar protests across the US and elsewhere.
And in other news, the loyalty of Apple fans are put to the test following a wave of bad publicity, which involves Apple's partners being accused of making sleek gadgets at the cost of the human rights of Chinese workers. However, even with a group of activists demanding the tech giant to clean up its act, many choose to look away and stand by Apple because of what an expert calls an emotional attachment to the brand. 最近有一群民众在网络上联署，希望苹果公司能够注意他们的合作伙伴的工厂是否有提供劳工合理的工作环境。目前已经收集了25万个签名，但同时也有人不是很在意苹果的工厂是不是血汗工厂。为什么会有这些差别呢？我们一起来看看。
There were scenes like this all across parts of the world. Throngs of people standing online to be the first to get their hands on the new Apple iPad. But not everyone at Apple's New York City flagship store was there to celebrate the launch. A small but verbal group of protesters, part of a Change.org petition boasting more than 250,000 signatures, showed up to send Apple a message.
Well, I'm a loyal Apple customer. I own an iPhone, I own a MacBook, and I've been a loyal customer for several years. And it's important to me that the folks who make the products that I depend on every day are treated ethically.
But judging from demand, most Apple customers are willing to overlook questionable labor conditions at the Chinese factories operated by Apple partners. One reason? Apple users feel a strong sense of identity associated with the brand, says Priya Raghubir. She specializes in consumer psychology and is a professor at New York University's Stern School of Business.
It's what the brand represents, not necessarily only lifestyle. So lifestyle could be part of it, but the overall personality, what it signals to that consumer about the consumer themselves, which is smart, innovative, cutting edge, and worth a few extra dollars.
According to Raghubir, it is that deep psychological and emotional attachment, which she describes as love, that makes consumers willing to overlook a few corporate indiscretions, giving the brand, in this case Apple, the benefit of the doubt.
The way, in our relationships with the people we love a lot, partners, parents, children, when they mess up, we say, you're not a bad person, you did a bad thing. Very similar to that. But you would only do that if you cared for the person.
And experts say Apple is responding by showing it cares. By cooperating with the Fair Labor Association, it's sending a positive signal to consumers who typically find it mentally easier to forgive than to break up.
And the petition is one of the many out there launched to protect the human rights of workers following the controversial reports from New York Times and the narrative from monologuist Mike Daisey, which revealed the brutal working conditions for Chinese employees at Foxconn. However, Daisey's story, which aired on an episode of This American Life, a popular U.S. radio show on National Public Radio, has since been retracted after Daisey was caught lying and fabricating facts. And turning to the world of entertainment, 21 Jump Street got off to a flying start at the box office over the weekend, leaping over the Lorax to claim the top position with $35 million US. 本周的北美票房由喜剧片21 Jump Street 夺下冠军宝座。另外，其他的片子表现如何呢？我们一起来看看。
With its popular lead actors and well-executed marketing campaign, 21 Jump Street jumped onto the first place at the box office this weekend with $35 million US. Starred by Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, the undercover cop comedy was the second biggest opening ever for an R-rated comedy outside of the prime summer season.
You have exceptional muscle tone there, young man. When'd you go through puberty? Like it's 7 or something?
Take it here so I know you're cool. Have fun.
Are you guys on drugs? I don't like that. Put your tongue back in your mouth.
Dr. Seuss's The Lorax fell 41% to an estimated $22.8 million US in its third weekend. So far, the animated hit has earned $158.4 million, and it looks like it will wind up finishing with over $200 million. Coming off its disappointing $30.2 million US opening last weekend, John Carter plummeted 55% to an estimated $13.5 million at number 3. The mega-budgeted film has made $53.2 million so far and has a chance of reaching the $100 million mark in the following weeks. Party comedy Project X fell 64% to just over $4 million US at number 4. Through 10 days, the movie has made $48.1 million US, 4 times of its production cost.
He'll go crazy if anything happens to it.
Number 5 went to Eddie Murphy's 1,000 Words, which raked in $3.75 million US.
Twins! It's twins! It's on the house! Oh.
Number 6 through number 8 were past week's holdovers, including The Military Actioner Act of Valor at $3.7 million, Safe House at $2.8 million, and Journey to the Mysterious Island at $2.5 million. The only new release that enters the top 10 chart was Will Ferrell's Spanish-language action comedy Casa de mi Padre, which debuted in 9th place with an estimated $2.2 million, despite a limited release at only 382 locations. Reese Witherspoon's romantic comedy This Means War raked in $2.1 million US, bringing the total ticket sale to $50.5 million US.
So you're not backing up.
And on this Friday, psychological thriller We Need to Talk About Kevin will be hitting the big screen. The suspenseful story takes us to witness the dramatic relationship between a mother and son. With Kevin turning vicious and evil in time, the mother reflects on their life together to try to understand what led him astray.
It's a getting closer, going faster than a roller coaster. Love like yours will surely come my way.
A mother who is trapped by the sins committed by her son. Starring Tilda Swinton as Eva, she struggles to come to terms with the increasing malevolence of her firstborn child. 本周要上映的新片《凯文怎么了》由知名演员 Tilda Swinton 主演，描写一个少年杀人犯的母亲怎么面对自己的孩子犯下杀人案。
Big shock, Kevin. You're natural. First he cries too much, then he's too quiet. And you see it as some kind of personal vendetta?
You think I'm exaggerating?
Listen, buddy, it's easy to misunderstand when you hear it out of context.
Why would I not know the context?
Franklin, Pick up the phone.
He's just a sweet little.
Pick up the phone.
Just a sweet little boy. That's what boys do.
And that's it for this edition. I am Louisa Lee, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Meanwhile, stay with CTS for the latest weather update and for more top stories.